Obviously, the people who do it are to blame, but the ease of access is also to blame. The main issue here is literally guns, guys. And I know what you're thinking, like, if you're American, you've been brought up, raised to own guns, have them as a present for your birthday, you know what I mean? But here in the UK, guns are something that is very far out of our reach that only a select few people do have. So could be police, it could also be some gangs making up maybe 1% of the UK or less who actually have access to guns. So if you look at the statistics in America, even from accidental discharge alone, so that's literally kids going to the gun cabinet or whatever it might be, messing around, accidentally fires it off. This accounts for thousands of deaths every year, and then on top of that you have gangs who use guns to kill people, and then you have obviously individuals who go out. This is where it's taken us now to the Kirk incident, which is recent, and it all comes down to the ease of accessibility to guns. This is what it comes down to. Trump got shot not even that long ago. It's so hardwired into American nature now that guns are normal. Obviously, the people who do it are to blame, but the ease of access is also to blame. Let's say I'm just going about my day, and then all of a sudden I do have a psychotic episode. Could be because I'm on drugs, it could be because it happens to be at that specific time, stress and anxiety, it could be anything. So all of these things can actually trigger psychotic events in people who do have things like psychosis, schizophrenia, or other mental health disorders. And this is where things get incredibly scary and dangerous. Here in the UK, I could have a psychotic episode. What do I have around me to grab? I do have sharp objects. I can potentially get a knife. I can, pick up heavy objects. I can get hammers. These types of things, right? They are limited to the reach of my arm, right? Yes, I could throw them, but most people do not throw the weapons that they're using. But that gives someone an incredible amount of chance to get away from you. They can run, they can get away out of your distance, or even walk fast. They can get away from you if they spot you coming at them with a weapon or looking psychotic or whatever it might be. You have the chance to get away. But the thing is, with a gun, you don't have that chance. You do not have the chance to escape. If you looked at the stats of your chances, handheld weapons versus a gun is too much power for an individual to own. It just is too much power, because if something goes wrong up here, which the brain, it's only a meat bag full of chemicals, you know what I mean? Like, if something goes wrong here, then what's stopping me from just picking up a gun, going outside and killing 10 people at once? And that's exactly what happens in America. What's stopping me from seeing someone I don't like on TV, a celebrity, something? I might not even have any reason for it, but if I have a little psychotic event, or I just have those types of murderous tendencies or something, I'm one of those people. A lot of these people who are in the UK, they do lash out, obviously, with handheld weapons and stuff like that, and some people, very low percentage, 1%, manage to get a gun, like farmers and stuff like that. But a lot of these people who are in this psychotic episode, they end up hurting much less people, drastically much less people, because most of the time they can't get to the person who they want to harm a lot of the time because of the distance, because they have to jump through hoops and whatnot, and if they wanted to try get a gun, it would be virtually impossible. They might be able to get an air rifle, but that's like very highly regulated in the UK. So what I'm saying is, guns need to be banned. Guns only need to be allowed to be had by military, police individuals, people who are looking after the country, not individuals. It is too much power to have for one person. To have the ability to go outside and just to press your finger and end lives instantly is too much power, and we've normalized this. We need to spread the word to basically ban guns everywhere. It should be only held by military and stuff like that. And I know what some people might say, oh, but how would we fight against a rogue government and stuff like that? Well, we just have to trust. Thing is, right, we just have to trust those people in power sometimes. Look, I agree, yes, they don't always have our best interest. Yes, anything can happen, but the amount of less deaths that will happen and occur, the safer that you will be in your own home, is drastically increased, right? And if just by looking at the statistics alone, rogue government comes after me, how am I going to protect myself versus, you know, a gang member, you know, someone on the streets, someone like a thief, you know, someone with a gun comes to your house. That's incredibly more viable to happen. All the high-profile people who have ever been assassinated in America, it's usually always by guns, right? But what happens if you take away the guns, if you strictly regulate the guns, right? You completely get rid of them completely. So, you know, for instance, you know, I think a good law would be if it was if a gun is found in your home, then, you know, you can get sentenced to maybe like 2 years in prison or 1 to 2 years in prison, something like that. Even the law like that, for instance, right, would be enough to drastically just completely wipe away everything. It would take a long time, I'm not going to lie, it wouldn't happen overnight. It would have to be a strict law that would have to come in, and it would have to be regulated and put down, and it would have to be monitored for a couple of years. But it could be possible, it could happen, you know, like in the UK, yes, we have very 1% gun crimes, right? But gun deaths are like unheard of the everyday individual like me. Like, I don't know anyone who's owned a gun, shot a gun, you know, got shot by a gun, you know, like it's not even on the news. It doesn't exist here. Like, it's not, it doesn't happen. Like, in the very 1%, it's like a gust of wind. Like, it just doesn't happen. But in America, people are getting assassinated left, right and centre. The ease of accessibility to guns is one of the main issues here. The people are to blame. I actually feel like the law of allowing guns is a massive part of to blame. If someone has a psychotic episode, sometimes that's not always their fault. Just be going crazy, right? It's plausible, right? But the fact that they are allowed to just take their gun and go shoot, that is someone's fault, you know? So that's what I want to put out on the table today. That's what I want to say. Spread this video, share it, and let's get the idea of banning guns back into the system, because it's ridiculous. You know, people do not have to die so easily. You know, less people are going to go pick up a knife and try stab a high-profile person, and they won't even be able to get to them because of security. So less people just would die. But the facts are the facts. No guns equals no gun crimes, or very minimal. So that's just the fact. You take away the guns, you take away the assassinations a lot of the time. You know? So I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and follow, and I will catch you guys in the next one.